I said, no, we're not going to broadcast this online or anything. If this is a time for citizens to come face to face, talk to their leaders, because we had the incoming mayor and the police chief here. So, no, sorry, this is not a time for you to sit at home. If you're seriously upset about this, you come out and show up face to face and talk. And a lot of people did. And it meant a lot more because, people were, as the conversation developed, people were opening up about their own experiences.
I'm Colin Burrows, and this is the Woodstein Media Podcast, episode 15. This podcast is produced on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Anishinaabe, and Odawa peoples. In this episode, I chat with Duncan Skeaff, President and Chairman of the Board of the Stratford Pride Community Centre. The SPCC has been open for almost a year, and I wanted an update on the community centre with a focus aimed at the 2S LGBTQIA plus community, and to find out what upcoming events or projects can be expected for the centre. This podcast and Woodstein Media are independently produced journalism that you can support through Patreon or by donating through PayPal at woodstein.ca. That's WOOD-STEIN.ca. Thanks for your interest and support. If you enjoy this podcast, you can support it by listening to more episodes and liking, sharing, subscribing, or reviewing them. Thanks. I'd like you to introduce yourself and let people know how you'd like to be described.
Well, my name is Duncan Skeaff. Duncan is my middle name. And I'm the president and chairman of the board of the Stratford Pride Community Centre.
June will be a year since you opened. And
June the 4th, since we opened the actual community centre here at 24 Downie Street in Stratford. It was last June the 4th that we unlocked the doors and had a big open house that day. So yeah, it's getting pretty close to a year now.
Okay, and so how has that year been?
It's been very, very busy, and it's been a really big learning period for us as well. There were certain things that I sort of envisaged this place, the actual location, being, or things that people might do that they're not, and other things that are going on that I had no idea would. For instance, in terms of things that aren't happening, I sort of expected that this would become a drop-in center almost right away, with people coming in, maybe seniors, gay seniors and their friends saying, oh, well, there's a community center, let's go and meet there every Thursday for coffee or something. Or people might come in and look through our bookshelves, because it's a free lending library that we've got of over 200 books. Well, we thought that, we had heard that there were so many young people who wanted to form, gay support groups, just informal, bunch of friends or something like that. And, some actually told us that they would, love having a space like this and so on. And it just hasn't happened yet. I'm impatient. And it hasn't been a full year yet. Mm-hmm. So, friends have taught me that my mantra has to be, it's not the next 3 days that counts, it's the next 3 years. So I shouldn't be so impatient. At the same time, although the drop-in center aspect of it hasn't really taken off, an awful lot of other things have. We talked a second ago about the vandalism and the graffiti at Circle Foods, which is just around the corner from us here in the Market Square. Within 36 hours of the pictures and so on going up on Facebook, I had announced that we were going to have a public meeting here. And 36 hours after the actual incidents were publicized, we had 75 people in here on an evening. It was really good. I expressly prohibited, or I said, no, we're not going to broadcast this online or anything. If this is a time for citizens to come face to face, talk to their leaders, because we had the incoming mayor and the police chief here. So, no, sorry, this is not a time for you to sit at home. If you're seriously upset about this, you come out and show up face to face and talk. And a lot of people did. And it meant a lot more because, people were, as the conversation developed, people were opening up about their own experiences. I had no idea that sort of thing was going to happen, but it's certainly something that, in my vision for the place could have happened. And we were very gratified that people came out. And it wasn't just gay people by any means, it was just citizens. So that happened, and then, just around the same time, we had done a weekend of screenings of Rocky Horror Picture Show. That was something we did free, and we had about 50 people show up on that weekend, so we count that as a win.
Do I see you've met my faithful handyman? He's just a little brat down because when you knocked, he thought you were the candy man. Don't get strung out by the way I look. Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm not much of a man by the light of day, but by night I'm one hell of a lover. I'm just a sweet transvestite, born transsexual, Let me show you alone, or maybe play you a song. You look like you're both pretty groovy. Or if you want something visual that's not too abysmal, we can take it in an old Steve Reeves movie. Well, you got caught with a flat. Well, how about that? Well, babies, don't you panic. By the light of the night, it'll all seem alright. I'll get you a satanic mechanic. I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual. Why don't you stay for the night, or maybe a bite? I could show you my favorite obsession. I've been making a man with blonde hair and a tan, and he's good for relieving my tension. Just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. Hey, I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. So come up to the lab and see what's on the slab. I see you shiver with anticipation. But maybe the rain is really to blame, so I'll remove the cause, but not the symptom.
That was Apocalypse Hoboken covering Sweet Transvestite from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Check out the links listed in the episode description for more information about getting any of the music played on this podcast.
We've got somebody right now, one of our volunteers, into meditative yoga, and she comes in twice a month. It's just something she wanted to do and something she wants to offer. She comes in on an evening twice a month, and we'll run classes. And not a lot of people show up, but again, I have to be patient. And she certainly is. She knows it's going to take a while for things like that to grow. So, in terms of other things that are happening that I hadn't really expected, we're getting a lot of individuals getting in touch with us. Either they're popping in the door or they're phoning us or they're emailing us and asking for help because they have no idea where to turn. And sometimes it's just useful help. And other times it's quite serious situations. And in that last category, we heard from a woman who is in a straight marriage right now, and there's a child, and she is leaving that straight marriage to go and be in a relationship with a woman. And the husband is not taking this well. Okay. And so she was getting in touch with us saying, my husband is making threats about custody or never being able to see my child again, because if you're going to do something like this, you're obviously an unfit mother and all that sort of thing. So she got in touch with us and said, I need a lawyer who understands this kind of issue, because as you can imagine, it's not your typical divorce. And luckily, one of our volunteers is a paralegal who knew a lawyer in town who has got experience going through this sort of divorce proceeding and everything. So we were able to hook this woman up with somebody. If we weren't here, I don't know how she would have done it. We've had a couple of mothers who've gotten in touch with us saying, I've got a transgender child who's coming for classes next term at University of Waterloo's Stratford campus. We need to find our child some trans-friendly accommodation, somewhere to live that is going to be cool with the other person in sharing a room or whatever is trans. So they came to us and said, we have no idea where to get the word out. So because we've got, this is where our online presence is important, not so much the bricks and mortar here, but because we've got a Facebook page and a group, and we're on Instagram and we're on Twitter and we've got a website, we're able to get the word out for that sort of thing. And as far as I know, or the last I heard, at least one of those people were able to find a room because of what we were able to help out with.
Some days, if I could give this all up, I would. If I could trade pissing behind a rest stop in Kansas in fear of the looks of road tripping families and truckers for a college degree and comfort in my assigned gender, that I would. That I would. No one really gets to choose the person they are, and I did not get to choose how I was born, and I won't choose how I die, and I will probably always live in doubt for the remainder of my life that the choices I'm making just aren't right. But most days I feel stronger and more beautiful all of the time. I am more confident and self-aware than I have ever been in my life. And I'm happy to be happy with all of my faults. I am content to be content with all of my flaws. No one really gets to choose the person they are, and I did not get to choose how I was born, but I can choose how I'm living, and I harbor some doubts, but mostly I feel fine. In fact, I feel fantastic. I am living with enthusiasm, reckless abandon. I wouldn't trade my life with anyone, and I wouldn't give this up for anything. And I think I finally love myself. And nothing and no one could ever take that away from me. And I think I finally love myself. And nothing and no one could ever take that away from me. And I think I finally love myself. And nothing and no one could ever take that away from me.
I think the name of that artist, she, her, hers, might be tough for people who get worked up over the use of pronouns to handle, but that song was I Think I Finally Love Myself. Check the description for more information.
A really big one that I'm really happy about that I did not see coming at all. Just after Christmas, the Children's Aid Society for Huron Perth got in touch with us and said, we've got some foster children who were kicked out of their homes because they came out and their parents don't want them anymore. One is as young as 13 years old. Now, these children are in foster homes, but they're straight foster homes. So their foster parents aren't able to identify with the sorts of things that these kids are going through, particularly since their sexuality has been made a definite point by their parents who don't want them anymore because of this. So the Children's Aid Society was saying, we need a way to start trying to find gay and lesbian foster parents so that queer kids can grow up in a queer home. And the Children's Aid Society said, how do we get into, how do we get in touch with the gay community here? And once again, I was able to put up my hand and say, we can do that for you because we've got the connections, and we've got an office here that we run things out of, so space to do this sort of thing if you want to drop in. So we have had a couple of meetings now with the Children's Aid Society, and they see a lot of good coming out of the contact they made with us. So things like that are happening. And I was just over last week, I drove over to Exeter to take some rainbow stickers to the Gay Straight Alliance at the high school there. They'd gotten in touch with us because they said we're going to do a project in May of going around to downtown Exeter businesses and seeing how many will put a rainbow sticker in their front window. We don't know where to get stickers. So again, I was able to put up my hand and say, sure, I can do that for you. And I did. And I drove over and had a visit with them last week. I'm going to the Gay Straight Alliance here in Stratford at the secondary school here. I'm going to visit them next week. We've got lots of our swag, our t-shirts and hoodies and toques left from our winter sale. So we're going to donate some of those to the kids involved. And at the same time, I also want to pick their brains and find out, okay, if you were running a community center for gays and lesbians, what would you do? It's a chance for me to find out, well, okay, how come you haven't been coming in? What else would you like? So, and it's probably going to be kind of fun for them too. So I'm going to give them, a drawing of this place in the two rooms that we have separated by the doors, and to say, okay, here's your space. what kind of community center would you design, and see what they come up with. That's one thing, because we're getting things happening that we weren't expecting, and some things that aren't happening that we were expecting. One thing we really need to do right now is some solid research. One of the things that got us started on our road to opening all this up was a PhD thesis by Dana Prest from UWO. She wrote about 2 years ago, I guess now, 2 or 3 years ago, during the pandemic, and in which it was a look at what's it like to be gay and lesbian in Stratford. And it was a gold mine. It was like 300 pages of research that I didn't have to do. What she did was talked to a lot of real life people in town and asked them what works, what doesn't work, when do you feel like you have a sense of belonging here, and when don't you? What sort of things have been tried before in terms of gay pride parades or anything like that did work? What are some that didn't? All sorts of questions like that about what's it like to live here and be queer. So that was my Bible when I was, trying to figure out what all this should be. Because here we've got all these people who've already been asked. All I had to do was read their answers. So we started off with that. And we followed that as the roadmap. Now we're 3 years later. We've got an online presence with all sorts of information in it, and we've got this place up and running. Now we want to figure out, okay, as people are getting to know that we are here and we're finding out who our allies are, where do we go from here? So we need some proper research to be done on that, not just going out and doing something informal. We need some focus groups. We need some proper research surveys, all that sort of thing done to find out what do people in this area really need. There are a lot of good guesses. I mean, when you think about the number of gay people who live here, a lot of them are retirement age or getting there. And in fact, like me, have left Toronto, retired, and moved out here. This was our retirement place. Some people who do that, but don't have supports here, either already when they come here through having friends here beforehand, or we're hoping to easily find friends or whatever. Sometimes it's not so easy, because while there are a lot of gay people here, there isn't a gay community. And that has been in large part because there hasn't been a place to congregate, which is one of the things that came out in the research, and so one of the reasons why we realized we needed a community center. There are people of all ages here who are feeling isolation. So what do we do about it? What kind of help do they want? There are all sorts of ideas you can come up with that have been tried and worked in other places, like personal drop-ins. Do you want to be hooked up with a buddy who will drop by your home or your apartment or your nursing home or retirement home once a week, just to have a chat? Somebody who understands the same life experiences that you've done. Do you want a phone call sort of thing? Would you like to find groups? What sort of things are you feeling? Like I say, that doesn't go just with the older people, but also the younger people too, which connects into why I'm going to be asking the students next week what they like to design. So we've got a lot of good guesses, and we know a lot of things that have worked in other places, but we've got to find out what's going to work here.
There's many a strange impulse out on the plains of West Texas. There's many a young boy who feels things he don't comprehend. Well, a small town don't like it when somebody falls between sexes. No, a small town don't like it when a cowboy has feelings for men. Well, I believe in my soul that inside every man there's a feminine, and inside every lady there's a deep manly voice, loud and clear. Well, a cowboy may brag about things that he does with his women, but the ones who brag loudest are the ones that are most likely queer. Cowboys are frequently secretly fond of each other. What did you think, though? was about. There's many a cowboy who don't understand the way that he feels towards his brother. Inside every cowboy there's a lady who'd love to slip out. Well, 10 men for each woman was the rule way back when on the prairie. Yet somehow those cowboys must have kept themselves warm late at night. Well, cowboys are famous for getting riled up about fairies. But I'll tell you the reason a big strong man gets so uptight. Cowboys are frequently secretly fond of each other. That's why they wear leather and Levi's with belts buckled tight. There's many a cowboy who don't understand the way that he feels towards his brother. There's many a cowboy who's more like a lady at night. Well, there's always somebody who says what the others just whisper. And mostly that someone's the first one to get shot down dead. When you talk to a cowboy, don't treat him like he was a sister. Don't mess with a lady that's sleeping in each cowboy's head. Cowboys are frequently secretly fond of each other. Even though they take speed and drive pickups and shoot their big guns. There's many a cowboy who don't understand the way that he feels towards his brother. There's many a cowboy who keeps quiet about things he's done.
That was Pansy Division's cover of Ned Sublet's Cowboys Are Frequently Secretly Fond of Each Other.
We've always figured we've got three audiences, one for information and support and resources and so on. One is people who live here. Another one is people who visit here, people who come for a weekend for the theater, and people who are thinking about leaving Toronto, say, and are looking within that 2-hour arc. So people are looking to move somewhere, which could be Port Hope, it could be St. Catharines, Niagara-on-the-Lake, could be here, could be Barrie, Peterborough. They want to get out of Toronto and they're looking at all the likely places to go. So how do we get information to those people as well about, we've always heard that Stratford is gay friendly and, with the theater there and everything, gee, it must be. But is it really? And how much so? So we've got information that we can provide for those people too, And I mean, if it's a family, for instance, say, a lesbian couple with 2 kids, and they don't want to live in Toronto anymore because it's too damned expensive to raise a family there. But they've always heard about Stratford, and they've come out here, for the theater and whatnot. Well, what about moving here? Okay, so what do those people need? They need a gay-friendly real estate agent. They need information about the school system. If I put my child into this school system, is he or she going to be bullied? What programs do the schools have, or something like that? What about places if my spouse and I want to go out for an evening and leave the kids at home, out for dinner and something like that? Is that easily done? So it's all the questions you ask when you're thinking about moving to a new community through the gay lens. So those are the 3 groups that we always knew we'd be talking to. And we got to keep an eye on it and keep our information about what they need and what they want so that we can provide what we need. I'm waiting to hear back from the Red Cross, which was one of the organizations that is providing money for sort of post-pandemic put your community back together funding. Mm-hmm. There's lots of things like that the federal government is doing, and this particular program is being administered by the Red Cross. And I put in an application for some money for some research so we can hire a firm properly and do it correctly. So I'm just waiting to hear back about that.
Okay.
Long ago, I was told, be a man, let them say your power. I was young, really strong, like a man, I let them say my power. I'm no man, I'm no that man. Long ago, I was told, be a man, let them say your power. I was young, really strong, like a man, I let them say my power. They were wrong, really wrong, 'cause I'm no man, I'm no that man. The M behind the gender, not the spirit and the gender. All my friends without a gender, let them say our power. And behind the gender, not the spirit and the gender. All my friends without a gender, let them say our power. Long ago, I was told, be a man, let them say your power. I was young, really strong, like a man, I let them say my power. They were wrong, really wrong, 'cause I'm no man, I'm no that man. The M behind the gender, not the spirit and the gender. All my friends without a gender, let them say our power. And behind the gender, not the spirit and the gender. All my friends without a gender, let them say our power. Power, oh, show them the power in you.
From the album Falling Star, that was Power by Carolina Brown. Again, check the episode description for links to their music and any other music you hear on this podcast.
I've been babbling on for quite a while
Yeah,
there.
you've given a lot of information about...
You're going to have some editing to do.
Yeah. Okay, and in that you mentioned, I like to acknowledge that it's happening, but I don't like to give it power. But you've mentioned some of the negative reactions and the fact that you had, the reason you had to call that meeting where 75 people showed up was because homophobic graffiti was done in the area. So have you been getting reactions like that from the community at all, that you've been, since you've mentioned that you were opening this place? Has there been... No? Excellent. That's
No.
Nice to hear.
Short answer. And surprisingly, no. You know, I thought that when we called that meeting, there'd be some idiots get on Facebook or whatever and start ragging on about, you know, well, what do you need a community meeting for, blah, 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 blah. But no backlash at all. And just around that time, when you came in the front door, you see that on one of the pillars beside our door that goes, you know, between the windows downstairs, big, long rainbow. It's almost like a barbershop pole. That's, you know, a story and a half tall, like this. We had that painted on there. People were having trouble finding us. We're up here on the second floor. We had one of our logo stickers downstairs, but we needed more because they couldn't find it. So we did that. So it's between windows. It's about it's a rainbow, like I said, almost like a barbershop pole, from waist level, if you stand outside, up about 1.5 stories. We installed that very shortly after the circle vandalism, and we thought, oh, we're a target for sure. Knock on wood, we haven't had a thing.
Okay.
And every morning I still keep coming in and wondering, okay, when I turn the corner, is it still going to be there untouched? And so far every morning it is. We've got voicemail on our telephone line, and we actually do have a telephone line because that's one more way of being able to get people to reach us. Not everybody's on Facebook. Again, knock on wood, nobody has ever left an off-color voicemail, or threatening or anything like that. As far as I know, at least no one has told me of any incidents. There's been nothing happen since the attack on the restaurant at the end of October. I don't know of anything. Nothing's been brought to my attention. I think I would probably be one of the first people to find out, to be told. But nothing has happened since then.
Okay.
And, I decided after that incident that we were going to make a very positive push back on that. And, one of the things I said to the community when they were here was, if we shout loud enough, we'll drown out the other voices. And that was why we opened the swag shop with, pro Stratford and pro gay comment slogans on the front end. I'm from Stratford, Ontario, where love is love. The toques say, Stratford, feel free to be yourself. And then the coffee mugs say, Stratford, safe place. I support the SPCC. And I started that very shortly after we had the public meeting here because, the cops would go away and do their thing trying to investigate. City Hall's got some policy development coming up. But you know what happens in these sorts of things. When some time goes by, the public doesn't hear anything, and they go, oh yeah, typical. So I knew we needed some way to keep the conversation in the public spotlight. And we needed to do that in a way that people could feel they were doing something. One of those ways is to wear your heart on your sleeve. And the more people wearing those, again, sort of the more we could drown out the other voices. Knock on wood, nothing's happened since.
I'm not going boy mode ever again. Hate it when you mock me in front of my friends. You've always been a prick. Why didn't I block you way back? Shouldn't have waited for personal attack. You've always been a dick. Dad's a homophobe, your mom's rudely honest. Cause I'm not offended when they mock my nail polish. Like they say it's just a phase. Sat 2 hours on the train to visit you and suicidal. Few months later you made me feel the same. Exactly the same. 2 months ago now, and it's quite sad. You made new accounts, messaged me back to back. Won't fall for your trap. Reporting your stalking to the local police. Gave them all the screenshots, but they did nothing. Nothing at all. year ago I would've called you my best friend, but now it's all come to a very sudden end. At least it made a good song.
From the EP Pronouns in Bio, that's Best Friend by Frankie HTML. At least I hope that's the way you say it. It's all one word, Frankie HTML.
It's interesting. Stratford's a strange case because, you know, while you've got that sort of thing that still does happen here, and you can talk to people who've lived here for 30 years who say, yes, there is, and not just in terms of queer issues, but generally there is sort of an unpleasant underbelly to the city that people who've been here for a long time know about but don't want to talk about. While it's got that subtext to it, you've also got a town that probably has more rainbow flags and stickers in windows than anywhere else its size in the country. So it's this very weird dynamic between the two, living with each other. I don't know, it's interesting. It's something we're watching to see what does happen. And we're making a real push this year to try and tell people outside of Stratford that this is definitely the year you should come and visit, because we are safe, we are welcoming. Just take a look at the playbill for the Stratford Festival this year. 3 gay plays and 10 different offerings through the Meehan forums. You know, they've got a comedy night, a history night, they've got a dinner, all sorts of different things. You know, this is the Meehan forums are where they bring in speakers and panels and entertainers and all sorts of. And they're bringing in one of the biggest trans comedian in the country, Trana Wintour, out of Montreal, who I've known for 10 or 15 years. She's just a gas. So they're bringing her in. So obviously the festival is not afraid of backlash. And it's one of the reasons why I'm calling this Stratford's Big Gay 2023. So we're really, like I said, we're really telling people, come and visit, get your tickets. And we've got the Pride Guide online as part of what we offer, which is our online listing of gay-friendly businesses. Sorry, I've got a bit of Parkinson's that pops up and down. And it's our directory of businesses, and you know it's somewhere that you can look and find out about restaurants or B&Bs or anything like that before you get here, because there isn't anywhere else for that to find that information online. There just isn't. I mean, you can go to Orbitz, you can go to Travelocity, you can go to TripAdvisor, anything like that. Any of their listings are 20 years old, and I'm not exaggerating. There was one listing on there still for a place that was a gay-owned B&B called 100 Church Street. It hasn't been around for 20 years, but the listing for it, if you Googled gay Stratford B&B, it's still there, which is just ridiculous. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get any backlash. But you know, if we do, I think we can count on the might of the Stratford Festival behind us, as well as a lot of other people in town too. I mean, the mayor is just, you know, he's of the sort of supporter that we would love everybody to be, you know, and he, anytime we ask him to do something to show the city's support, he's there.
And even with Winter Pride, there was drag there, and drag seems to be getting hit really hard across everywhere.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, the latest incident nearby was in Woodstock. I think it was the story time at the library.
What's a man now? What's a man mean? Is he rough or is he rugged? Is he culturally clean? Now it's all changed. It's gotta change more. We think it's getting better, but nobody's really sure. Take your mind back. I don't know when. Back when it always seemed to be just us straight as a line. All the gays are macho, can't you see the levee shine? You don't wanna act dumb, don't wanna offend, so don't call me a faggot, not unless you are a friend. And if you're tall and handsome and strong, you can wear the uniform and I can play along. And so it goes, go round again, but now and then we wonder who the real men are. Oh, whoa, 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 oh, whoa,
That was Joe Jackson's Real Men as interpreted by Pansy Division.
We're very fortunate. In the fall and at Christmas time and at Winter Pride, we had drag story time. We had it here, and our two co-sponsors are the public library and Madeline's Diner, which is just closed. So we're actually looking for another business to come in as our third funding partner. But we've done 4 of those. Yeah, we had a full-on drag show for adults. Big difference, different content. As one of our nights at Winter Pride in February. We had a comedy night. Second night was a drag night, and then a dance and our big gala on the third night. And no trouble. Again, knock on wood. Some people say, well, because of the festival and the large artistic community here year-round, Stratford is a little bit different than everywhere else. So that may be why they suggest that may be why we don't see that element raising its head here as much as in other places. So it's odd, and we'll be watching, because I'm sort of putting this organization on the front line by saying this is your big gay year. Come on out here and visit. I would love to see couples, same-sex couples, walking down the main street holding hands. We'll see.
Like you're saying, the artistic side of Stratford it's a really interesting aspect of the city, because I grew up in Perth County and in the north, and it's got a far different feeling than Stratford. One other person I was interviewing, we were joking that there's like a circle around Stratford where you have to burst through that, and then you come into kind of an artistic wonderland. Like, we really like making excuses to come to Stratford, because it's got a totally different feeling than the rest of the area.
Somebody, and I'm not going to take credit for this, but somebody who I know who has lived here for 30 years, so it's not my joke, said that the local joke is, well, without the festival, what do you have? Woodstock. So could be, but it's true, and people don't move out this way to move to Milverton. You don't leave a condo in downtown Toronto to go to Brunner. Not that there's anything wrong with those places.
Comfort is what we need, my babies. Listen and I'll show you how. The sidewalks, the carpet, and the bushes are the walls. Through the skyless night he covers his young. The cold blocks the cold wind whistling through. Where the sidewalks, the carpet, and the bushes are the walls. The moon's his lamp and the world's his door. His eyes bleed salt crystal. And his hair deeply swooshing, thinly sliced paper.
From the EP For Shadows on the Wall, that was Even in Blackouts with The Writer. I wanted to then ask you about future plans, events for this year, part of the big gay year. How are you going to be involved?
Well, definitely going forward this year with our campaign to let people know that this, if they're looking for somewhere, and I'm talking about gay people now, if they're looking for somewhere to go for their holidays, for their weekend getaways or something like that, this is the place to come. And there are a lot of places, particularly in the States now, where gay people are not feeling so welcome. So if you we're usually driving down to, or maybe taking a plane down to Florida or something for a week. A lot of people I know are not really keen on going to the United States right now. So, okay, stay home, come to Stratford. And one of the big things that the tourism people here are doing, which ties in with us as well, is they're trying to get people to understand that Stratford is a 12-month of the year tourism destination. We've got the Festival of Lights in late December and January now. There's some other things coming up. Summer Music Festival has now got a winter offshoot. They do some stuff there. And of course, we're now doing Winter Pride. And we're doing Winter Pride because there are so many gay people here who are feeling particularly isolated in the middle of winter. It's one thing to stage a parade or whatever you want in June, but come July 1st, now what for the other 11 months of the year? So the fact that the city and the tourism people are trying to make things year-round, and we are trying to help gay people's lives 12 months of the year, not just one, all ties in very nicely. So that's something we're going to continue on with. If you want to get out of the city for Valentine's Day weekend, because Winter Pride is very close to that, come on up this way. We've got stuff for you, and we're working on getting businesses to start thinking that way. That get this big gay tourism block to start coming here. It's a real missed opportunity. As I said, when you go online and Google Stratford gay B&B, it's nothing. We need to change that. Mm-hmm. It's good for the city. It's good for the gay people wanting to go somewhere. And we're a very loyal bunch too. I mean, gay travelers tend to put personal safety very, very high on their list of things to look for. So if you're running a B&B in Stratford and somebody comes out from Toronto with his boyfriend or girlfriend and stays with you for a weekend and sees that they can also go out to restaurants where nobody's going to give them a hard time, or out to bars in the evening or something, if we can show people that that's the case, they're going to come back, because I found a place where I feel safe. I found a place where I know I'm welcome, so I'm going to go back. And we spend a lot of money too. So definitely we're going to continue that. We're going to get some more effort into bolstering the Pride Guide with information for people who are thinking about coming here long-term, permanently. And then doing that research to find out from people directly exactly what is it that you want, what do you need, what can we do for you, and see where it goes. Okay. I mean, we've done the first thing, which was getting a good online information hub up and running. We did that 2 years ago, and we promised, it was kind of my personal promise, to have a community center up and running by Pride Month last year, and we did that. So we've got number 1 accomplished and number 2 accomplished. Now it's a matter of saying, okay, where do we go from here? And we'll see. Like I said, a lot of things have been happening that I never expected would, and that's been a good thing so far. One of the big things that we learned last year was not to try and add events to the calendar during the high season with the festival. Okay. I mean, so we are not doing any new drag shows, anything at all, between now and Labor Day. It's not just the festival, but there is so much going on in this town. Mm-hmm. I mentioned the Summer Music Festival before. But I mean, for a town of 34,000 people, you've got those things. You've got a symphony orchestra. You've got a concert band. An art gallery. for all of those, summertime is high season.
Yeah, and their calendars are established now.
Yeah. So we're not going to try and add to it. We tried that last year. We tried running some events during the summertime. Nobody showed up. A, because we were new and they really, didn't know to go looking for us. And B, there's just so much else going on. So instead, going back to, hey, come to Stratford. It's a great place to visit if you're gay. We're going to be highlighting all the stuff that everybody else is already doing. Like the festival and everybody else. So come on out. So we'll be concentrating on those things, and then whatever else may come along.
I'm the shy boy, you're the coy boy, and we're Homo sapien too. I'm the cruiser, you're the loser, me and you, sir, Homo sapien too. Homo superior in my interior, but from the skin out I'm Homo sapien too. And you're Homo sapien too. And I'm Homo sapien like you. And we're Homo sapien too. And I think of your eyes in the dark and I see the stars. And I look to the light and our minds wonder right where you are. I just want this to last, all my future and past are all gone. And if this is the case, then I'll lose in life's race from now on. I'm the shy boy, you're the coy boy, and we're Homo sapien too. I'm the cruiser, you're the loser, me and you, sir, Homo sapien too. Homo superior in my interior, but from the skin out I'm Homo sapien too. And you're Homo sapien too. And I'm Homo sapien like you. And we're Homo sapien too. And I just hope and pray that the day of our love is at hand. You and I, me and you, we will be one for two, understand that the world is so long and I hope that you'll be strong enough. For we are on our own and the only thing known is our love. Don't want to classify you like an animal in the zoo, but it seems good to me to know that you're Homo sapien too. I'm the shy boy, you're the coy boy. Don't want to classify you like an animal in the zoo, but it seems good to me to know that you're Homo sapien too. You're the coy boy. Don't want to classify you like an animal in the zoo, but it seems good to me to know that you're Homo sapien too. Don't want to classify you like an animal in the zoo, but it seems good to me to know that you're Homo sapien too.
That was Pansy Division's imagining of what it may have sounded like if Pete Shelley would have performed Homo Sapien with Buzzcocks and not as part of his synthesizer-driven solo career. I remember at that meeting that was here, you were looking at statistics from Statistics Canada, and per capita, wasn't Stratford eighth for most couples?
Toronto is 9th. Yeah, when you rank places according to the number of gay male couples in Canada, we were 8th. Toronto is 9th, which means we have more gay male couples per capita than Toronto does. And the funny thing is, even though you've got all these homos living here, Stratford is not on any of the lists of the most gay-friendly places in the country.
Okay.
Nelson, BC is. Whitehorse is. A couple of places in Quebec. St. John's, Newfoundland is. We're not. That's crazy.
That's one of your goals, to get us on, or get the area
within the goal is within 1 year to get us on one of those lists, and within 3 years to get us at the top of one of those lists, excluding Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Vancouver. Take those out of the mix. I want to see us be on the top. Because it's just nuts that we're not.
Okay.
Well,
thanks for talking to me.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. You're a good writer.
Thanks.
I don't wanna
Ending off the episode was Brandy McMaxwell with Lonely in Nashville. Thanks for listening, and thanks to Bruce for the interview. Check out the description wherever you are listening to this for links to more information about what is happening at the Stratford Pride Community Centre. Or visit woodstein.ca. That's wood-stein.ca. You can support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Colin Burrows. Like, share, comment, follow, and support Woodstein Media and this podcast, and have a wonderful day.